Well, good morning and welcome back to the program today. We appreciate you coming, and we just appreciate this beautiful day the Lord has made, and we're going to rejoice and be glad in it. So, no matter where you are, if it's raining or if it's sunshiny, if it's cool or if it's hot, we want you to remember that this is a day that the Lord created, and He created it for you and with you in mind, and He has created it for us to rejoice and be glad in Him. So, whether you're hearing this over the radio or you're hearing it on YouTube, we want to encourage you to embrace this day as a gift from God. You may be going through trials. You may be facing things with your family. Some of your family may be in the hospital and you're in between coming and going to the hospital. But we want you to know that we serve a God that is able to heal, to deliver, and to meet the needs of His people. And so we want you to know that we're praying for you, and we appreciate you joining us this morning and want to encourage you to stay tuned for the next 30 minutes or so and allow the Lord and the Holy Spirit to minister to you through the words and the story and the testimony you're going to hear today. And we would like to hear from you, and you can contact us at lynnTministries@aol.com. You can find us on Facebook with Defining Moments and tag radio station on there. And like I said, you can also pick us up on YouTube by searching for Defining Moments with Evangelist Lynn Taylor. This program is certainly not about me. This program is certainly about lifting up Jesus and making Him famous in this land, letting you know that He is the only way to the Father and that He can reach you right where you are, just like He has reached so many of my guests. And today I'm just pleased to have my guest with me today. Her name is Anya Johnson. Now I'm going to say that is her American name or her English name, and I will let Anya tell you what her birth name is if she feels so inclined to do so. But I met Anya through a friend that we share in common, and she shared some of Anya's testimony with me back several months ago, and the Lord finally connected the pieces, and we got together, and I was able to hear some of her story, and I'm telling you, it is incredible what God can do. You know, He doesn't know any boundaries. He doesn't have to have a visa. He doesn't have to have a passport to reach across the nations, but He is with us wherever we are. And I am so honored to introduce to you today, once again, Anya Johnson. Anya, welcome to Defining Moments.
Thank you so much for having me. Now, I don't know how many people can actually pronounce my real name, which is Anya Borisovna Alimova. But, you can go ahead and try it. Why don't you try it?
We tried and we failed, so.
Like I told you, I was born in Tula, Russia. I have two wonderful brothers. My testimony is just something that didn't really start shaping till about 1999. Before then, I raised my brothers. My brothers are very important to me, and when my mom and dad became an alcoholic, they always were alcoholics. It was hard, and the food, they spend the money on the food. They spend the money on the alcohol, and we didn't have no food, and I had to take care of my brothers. I had to step up and do everything for them, and then just I grew up as a bitter person, you can say that. And in '99, my mom died from cancer, and that was a very sad time. And after that, our dad just kind of neglected us, and we were turned over to the Russian authorities, and we were placed in an orphanage. We were together for some time, and then we were separated. I became a really bitter, sad person. I had a lot of depression in my life because just imagine taking your children away from mother, because I wasn't their sister, I was their mother, and I just became a bitter person. And then I hated life. I blamed God for everything. in my life. And when I was in one orphanage, there was a time that they did Operation Christmas Child, and that's the organization that gives you a shoebox. Somebody in
Mhm.
America or any other country packs a box and sends it with love to a child. They don't know where the shoebox, or in 99 they didn't know where the shoebox going. Since 99 they have evolved. Now you can track your box
Wow.
online,
Mhm.
and you know what country it'd be going to. And like, I got one of the shoe boxes when I was 9 years old, and it was just a very special time in my life because it just took everything I had and turned my whole life around. I guess when I was 9, I really accepted God, and I've really understood what it's like to love and hope. I always knew who God was. My grandma, she's a Roman Catholic, and my real grandma, biological, she always told us who God was. On Easter we had
Mhm.
services. On Christmas, we always knew who God was. But like I said, when I was 9, I just kind of blamed Him for everything in my life, and I was the backseat driver, in that
Mhm.
relationship. And when I got that shoebox, it just changed my life. Um, I became closer to God, and I know He's my best friend now, and I
Mhm.
couldn't do anything without Him. And just the fact that somebody somewhere cares enough to send you, this gift. They don't know you, they don't know your situation, but when you open that box, everything changes. Like my doll that I got in the box, I call her Hope, and the reason I call her Hope is because that box was hope in my life. It just showed me a way to be hopeful for tomorrow, to know that God can make any situation, He can turn it, any horrible situation, into a great, wonderful lifestyle. Just, you know,
Mhm.
it's just amazing.
So they brought you into the orphanage, and your brothers were just suddenly gone from your life,
Yes.
and so you had to deal with. Did you know where they were?
No, sometimes I didn't know, and like I said, one time we was together, all three of us, and then I didn't know where they were for a few, months, and then when we got adopted, we were back together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how your adoption, how you managed to come from Russia with the name that's as long as a yardstick, and I'm
Right.
sorry that I can't pronounce
It's
it,
okay.
to and this is incredible to me because we have been doing this program for a year and a half, and I have had many women to come across these airwaves and met women from, I mean, from miles and miles around, some as far as 2 hours away.
Hmm.
One that will be recording at her radio station and mailing me in her testimony. And to you being what, maybe 1 mile or less from this radio
Right.
station, and we just connect. I mean, tell us how that happened. How did you get from Russia to Greenville, Alabama?
Um, in Russia, the orphanage have a program called Kids Safe International, and they pick kids to come to different countries. And before I came to America, I went to Spain, and a lovely lady wanted to adopt me, but she didn't want my two brothers. And
Oh.
since I was a little bit older, I could have a say so. And I used to have this joke when I get mad at them. I tell them, "Oh, I should have let her adopt me."
I should have went to Spain.
Yeah, it's beautiful there. But they pick kids to come to countries, and America was in 2000, the year 2000, and we got all three of us got picked. That was like
Wow.
amazing, because usually if you're in an orphanage in Russia, it's once you turn 16, they kick you out, and they don't really care what you do, after you live there.
Right.
And they don't keep siblings together. It's really hard on siblings. Once you grow up and be 16, so you don't know if you're going to see your brother or your sister. You don't know nothing like that. Half of the orphanage girls and boys, they become prostitutes. They, just go to different lifestyles, drugs. But we were lucky, three we got chosen, and there's some more kids that came with the Kids Safe International. We flew to America. We had host family, but it fell through. So when we got here, we didn't have nobody to go to. Yeah. And imagine just all that horrible stuff in Russia, and then you like, oh yeah, I'm so excited, I'm gonna have a wonderful time in America, and then you get here and you're like, oh, I don't have nobody to go to.
Wow,
yeah,
it's gotta be scary.
It was, and then since we're such a young children, we don't understand what's really going on. But the another little child that was with us, her name was Sabina. She had a lady in Louisiana who was going to host her, and this lady had a best friend, and the best friend was having, her own demons she was dealing with, and she just like, oh, you're crazy, I can't keep three kids, and then she said after she went home, she told about it, she said she couldn't eat, drink, or, sleep. She's like, all I see is that picture on the computer of those three kids.
Wow.
And she ended up hosting us, and we had an interpreter that stayed with us. It was awesome, it was, she didn't speak no English, Russian, we didn't speak no English, wow. So, there's a lot of hand motions and stuff, but the interpreter helped a lot.
I'm sure.
And then at the end of our stay time in America, she asked us if we wanted to be adopted, and we're like, oh yeah, also yes.
Oh,
we were so excited, and we went back to Russia for 9 months, and she did a lot of paperwork, and she adopted us. And
so you actually went back to Russia before you were finally
made
a legal adoption.
Yes, for
what happened during that time?
We went back to the orphanage and just went on with our life, just like normal. And she would call us and talk to us, and
so y'all were in communication.
Right, right. I don't know if you really call that communication. We only knew so few words, like I love you, hello, and we knew it was her voice, but we had this joke. We know what Noka sandwich is, and which is, like an inside joke for us. But, we knew when she was joking and all, and we were just happy to hear her voice when she called.
I know. Tell our listeners a little about the life in an orphanage. About your needs, about your bath, about how often that happens. Just give us a little insight to the life inside of that orphanage.
The bath you mentioned, we only took a bath once a week. That was usually done on Saturday or Sunday. And the orphanage, it didn't have showers, so we would have to walk miles and miles to this bath house. And they had the individual showers, and they have like I guess saunas type of things, and where you could go in and bathe and do everything you need to do. And then we would have to walk back miles to the orphanage, and if you needed a bath, you just hope and pray that you didn't get dirty throughout that whole week, because the only thing there was a sink, and you have to do your stuff in the sink.
Wow, what a that's we hear it in America and other nations, and we kind of sometimes take it for granted that we can run a hot bath and lay in the tub for as long as we want to, or take a shower and have hot water right there. If our water heater goes out, we panic because we're gonna have to take a cold shower, but. And I know that you're here and you have a wonderful life now, but there are still people and children in those places, and they really need help. They need the Lord, and they need a lot of prayer.
Prayer, yes.
Yeah, a lot of prayer. But I know that you speak fluent English.
Yes.
I can hear that accent.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I can understand you, and you can understand me, and so that's a plus. And we're able to communicate. How did that happen? That you came and you're in this family that speaks no Russian, you speak no English, and your brothers they're there. How old are your brothers? How old were they when they came?
When they came, they were, I believe, 6 and 7.
So they were very young.
Very young. I was 11.
Okay.
I'm 24 now, so I'm old.
She's old as dirt, y'all.
Yeah,
I'm telling
old.
you should see this old woman here with me. She's a beautiful, beautiful young lady. But how did you come to learn the English language so quickly, from what you told me?
When we came here in May 2001, we stepped on the U.S. soil. We didn't speak a word of English, except
The knuckle sandwich.
Yeah, the knuckle sandwich. Yeah, and I love you and hello, but we couldn't carry a conversation. Like you and I are doing now. But my grandma, I have to say, she was a great teacher. When we started school, we could, write our name, say our name, spell, we can count, knew all of the alphabet. So she, from May till August, she taught us how to speak. She has a swimming pool, and the boys, they love water. I'm not really care, I don't care for water that much, but they love the water, and so she had those maps that you stick in the right places and letters and stuff like that, and she would give it to us and said, we say, we go swim, and she goes, no, and she pushed that board next to us and say, no ABC, no swim. So we had to learn our ABCs in order to go swim, and I'm glad she made us learn them, because even though still 14 years being in America, I still have hard time with English. Like, I get my toes and fingers confused. And toothpicks and Q-tips.
Oh, that is a very important
Yes.
item not to get confused.
Imagine sticking a toothpick in your ear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not very pretty. So from May until August, you learned to speak English.
Yes.
That is amazing.
Wow.
You can just see the hand of God in all of that.
Yes, all credit goes to Him. Yeah.
Well, what are you doing now to give back and to sow into the lives of others? I want you to tell everybody what you're doing.
Well, every year I participate at Operation Christmas Child, in Wellspring Community Church in Millbrook, Alabama. We pack boxes and then we drop them off at the major location. I give back a box just like I received to some little girl or some little boy that doesn't have anything. And every year I start in August collecting supplies. Anybody can donate. They can go donate. They don't have to donate to me. They can go donate to a church. Just the most important thing is pack a shoebox. That's what I do. And I ask my close friends for supplies like school supplies, hygiene supplies, anything that you think, hey, if I was stuck somewhere, what would I need? Like, you need a toothbrush, you need a wash rag. Even though, if you broke down somewhere, you can go wet that wash rag and wash your face with it. I just asked for little things like that, and
like baby wipes.
Baby wipes.
Baby wipes. I know they even say some of our soldiers that have been maybe like in Iraq, where it's just so much sand, and sand is in everything. And one of the items they have encouraged people to put in a care package is baby wipes, because they can pull them out and use them right there, and that is just something that's really needed. And if you're only getting to have a bath once a week,
that helps out.
Think about these kids that are still in that situation, that they pull out a box and it's full of these oh my goodness, I can clean myself. Young ladies, especially,
Mm-hmm.
may need items such as that. Um, t-
Y- you know, OCC, Operation Christmas Child, they have a website that you can go to and you can find out the list of things that you can and cannot put. You can, you know, there are things that you cannot include,
mhm.
like liquids, chocolate. You can't do that. Um,
Oh no, no chocolate.
no chocolate. I
Poor
know.
babies.
Um, no army stuff.
Mhm.
Because
Right.
it provokes.
Mhm.
Um, so no stuff like that. But one thing that you don't think of that they need is ladies. When time of the month comes,
Right.
there's young girls who can't use nothing, and they have to use like you can imagine. But just those things, just hygiene items,
Mhm.
is great for young girls, for
Yeah,
young.
I had not thought about that, but yeah, you're saying these young girls can be in there until they're 16, and if nobody's there for them, they're just
Mhm.
thrust out on their own and get into all kind of terrible situations just trying to survive.
Mhm.
But yeah, and just encourage everybody to get their church involved in
Mhm.
this, and get your community involved in this. And if you want to know more about this, you can contact me at the station here, or you can contact me through my email address. And you can find all that on Facebook. And I'll get you in touch with Anya if that's okay with her,
That's fine.
and get you guys connected. But there's one thing we cannot overlook, that when you got your shoebox, you got a friend out of that box,
I
didn't you?
did. I got my doll Hope, and I have had her ever since that day. She stays in my car because, there's somebody that I meet on the street that's like, hey, I saw you before, and they're like, you're that girl. And I'm known as that
You're
girl.
that girl from
That girl,
Russia.
yeah. And, I just pull Hope out and I explain,
Mhm.
hey, this is my doll. And, just when I'm feeling horrible and I'm driving and I glance in the back seat and I just realize, hey, there is hope.
There's hope. Wow. Was there anything else out of your heart that you just want to share? Are your brothers doing good now?
They are. One of them's getting married at the end of August. I am
Wow.
so excited.
Wow.
Yes.
Do they live near you,
They
or?
live in Louisiana,
Oh,
so I
okay.
will be taking a trip to
Yes, you
Louisiana. Yes, I'm
will.
so
Her baby's
excited.
getting married.
Yes.
Wow. Do you ever? I guess that it. You never heard from your dad after you went into the orphanage.
The orphanage told us not to keep contact because he
Mhm.
did lose his parental rights.
Right.
Even though they told us not to keep contact, I did see him right before, and
Mhm.
there was a lady in our orphanage that kind of, I guess, snuck us to see our
Mhm.
dad, and he would meet her. So I did ask him, if he was okay with us being adopted and never seeing him again. And he said, "Hey, baby, I can't provide you with nothing. You have a better life if you go."
Mhm.
So, yeah.
And you have a wonderful father. His name is Jesus,
Yes,
and
exactly.
he
I
is
mean,
a wonderful provider.
he is wonderful.
And I can see that he has just given you such joy.
He has worked some miracles in my life. One day I get up and I think that the world has come to an end. And then, I just have to say, Jesus, where are you? And
Yeah.
he's always there to answer my prayers.
Yes, he was. And isn't it wonderful that not even an orphanage in Russia can keep him out?
Exactly. He finds ways.
Yes, he does.
It's just, oh, heebie jeebies.
Gives you the hibby jibbies.
Yeah.
I got that. That's trans translatable in any language.
Goosebumps. I got goosebumps.
Just goosebumps.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly appreciate you being with us today and
Thank
sharing your
you.
story. And like I asked a moment ago, is there anything that you just want to share? Anything you feel
Um,
you need to share with this audience?
just I do want people to pray for children who are, not just in Russia. There's people, children suffering everywhere. I mean, in the state of Alabama,
Absolutely.
there's kids that losing their fathers and mothers to crimes. Just pray for the nation. Pray, ask God to bless it, because we need
Mm-hmm.
more and more of Him in our lives, and just if we keep pushing Him out, it's not going to be pretty, and
Mm-hmm.
we need more of Jesus in our daily
Yes,
life.
that's so well said. I've been involved in prison ministry here recently, and we minister to the women in prison. But right next door is a men's prison, and some of the uh, leaders, team leaders, their concern is for the men in prison. And this just came to my mind one day. If you can reach the men, and the men change them with the gospel of Jesus Christ, and let them know how much He truly cares, and let them see the love of God, and it changed their life. If you can change the men, you can change the home. And if you change the home, you can change the
Mm-hmm.
world. And that is kind of my prayer is, Lord, help us to reach those that are hurting.
Yes.
Um, we kind of stay in our sealed houses and deal with our own problems
Mm-hmm.
when uh, we need to look out the window, so to speak, and see beyond what we're going through, and see somebody that's in a greater need than we are, and take our resources, take our time, take our resources, and help pack Christmas boxes,
Mm-hmm.
and take our resources and do that, and take our time and pray over these boxes. And I'm sure you can put a note in those boxes that
Yes, you
yeah,
can.
just
Hmm.
put a note
A
in there.
picture, just anything.
Mhm.
One good way is to do that is there's a vistaprint.com, and you can order business cards, but instead of putting your business on it, put a personal message, put a scripture, just a
Great
note,
idea.
a note. Add a little picture of your family. You get like 250 cards,
Right.
and you can just stick them in the shoe
Yeah.
boxes, or just pass them out in the street. Say, hey,
Exactly.
Jesus loves you.
Great idea. Well, thank you again for being with us,
Thank you for
and we
having me.
appreciate you being transparent and sharing your heart, even the bad days,
You
because
know,
I can tell just by looking at you that you're beyond that
yeah.
you have pressed past that, and God has used that to make a beautiful woman with a
Oh,
beautiful
thank
life.
you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for joining us, and I want you to remember this: that of everything you've heard us say here today, that when you realize just how much Jesus Christ loves you, and you invite Him into your life, and you give your heart to Him, then you will experience your greatest defining moment.